have Ed Casey, CEO of Burgerville, based in Vancouver, Washington?
That's correct.
Yeah, and so this is a 39-unit chain. You're saying quick service, but tell me what you describe it as.
All right, so we are a local iconic brand, family-owned, over 60 years in the market. This is a brand that has been in the communities, working in the communities for many years, a lot of giveaways and fundraisers and stuff in local markets, as well as being focused on local vendors. We over 100 local Pacific Northwest ranches and farmers and providers, small artisans that we're involved with that for the most part practice sustainable practices. So we've just got a great loyal following of people that we really match the ethos of the community, and it's just tremendous brand loyalty.
Yeah. So you joined the company 2 years ago.
Yes.
Longtime industry veteran, and this is a time for the brand when they have just reignited growth after about 8 years of not growing.
Yeah, that's correct.
Tell me a little bit about why that happened and why now, and
yes,
what your plans are.
They had been struggling for a little while. I think they're down to third generation family run company, and the second generation family patriarch had kind of retired about 10 years ago. They brought in outside CEOs, and they had a few missteps there for a while and had lost momentum. So they had some efficiency problems and consistency problems that were retarding their unit execution. So they had slowed down some, but they were still just such tremendous brand loyalty. So the opportunity coming in was just to unclog it and make sure it's working well, drive revenues, and we knew that the brand loyalty was so tremendous in the core markets, and there's so many collateral markets that there's pent-up demand that we wanted to get the brand growing. So all those things have come to fruition. We've had 2 years of very strong double-digit sales. We had a record year last year in 2023 in both revenue and profit, and we're well funded at this point to move forward. We're looking at about 10 different locations right now. 2 are in development stages, and the rest all in lease process working. So.
And these are all company owned, right?
Yes, all company owned.
So these 10, when do you think? Are you saying this year, next year? What timeline?
We plan on opening about 12 locations over the next 15 to 18 months.
Wow. That's a lot after not opening for 8 years. That's
right.
Amazing. Yeah.
We're excited about it.
Yeah. And so typically how big are these?
We've got the new model. They're typically about 2,600 square feet to 3,000 square feet.
Oh.
So they're pretty broad range. But our new prototype model will be running around 20. We can run them about 2,000 to 2,100.
Is it a drive-through?
It's a drive-through. It has a dine-in and drive-through as well.
Yeah. And how's your off-premise?
Off-premise is great. I think COVID really helped with that. During the years the dining rooms were closed, they were focused enough to get involved on the digital side, and they've driven their digital sales to a pretty respectable level. So yeah.
So let's talk about the sustainability, because you are operating in a region where this really matters. I think. Yes. I feel like your consumer is really looking for that sort of thing. You're talking about working with local producers and trying to support the farmers in your area. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How you've done that? How you've developed the vendors that you work with, and what you look for?
Certainly. Well, I'd love to take all the credit for it, but I've kind of just jumped on the bandwagon. This is a company that was really early adopters in that particular sense, long before anybody else was really talking about sustainability. Late 1990s, early 2000s, they were getting involved with local farmers. They put a contract together with Country Natural Beef, a provider that was focused on antibiotic and hormone-free beef. I've always used fresh product, never frozen, high-quality local beef. Then Leopold Farms and Berry Farms, Oregon berries. Just that there's so many. Every product that comes in the door is sourced through that kind of prism of, is it local? What are the attributes of the food? Is it, are the practices that are used to bring it together sustainable, where we can, organic? So we're just very focused on the attributes of the food, bringing high quality ingredients, and then having fun with the food too, having it be something that's a little bit different than traditional fast food, having range. We have things that nobody else do, like Walla Walla onion rings. Walla Walla is a great example because it's an area in Washington that produces a lot of onions. The onions are seasonal, so they come out every year.
They're sweet, right?
They're sweet, yeah, they're sweet onion rings. And so we get about 5 weeks where we get to make them, and our sales go crazy during that period. I mean, we always have good sales, but when we launch the Walla Wallas, people actually come from Idaho and come from eastern Washington because they know we're doing the Walla Walla onion rings at that time of the year. They're just a tremendous product, but it speaks to how the company uses the seasonality and the local connection and the focus on sustainability all to come together and stay connected to our local communities.
Yeah, and another of the local products that you're using are Marion berries, which that's a very
It's a
Pacific
local
Northwest
Oregon.
thing.
It's the Oregon berry.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, we use Marion berries. We do a great Marion berry shake during the season. We use Oregon strawberries when we can. We start strawberry season. If you want to do it right, you got to bring in some strawberries from other areas, but
California.
Yeah, California berries. But we get into the Oregons as soon as we can, and they are so flavorful. We have a lot of guests that understand that it's about late May by the time before Oregon strawberries are coming. But they're asking when are they going to be here because they add quite a bit of flavor. We bring in we run a strawberry shortcake that's really popular with people. So
and local grains is another thing that is super interesting.
We've contracted with a local baker to make buns for us that are locally sourced. All the grains are sourced from the same area, and they're again, sustainable practices. So we have what we call a number 6 burger because of its carbon imprint. So our customers understand what that is, and everything in that is vetted through full sustainability. So the grains are local. The beef itself is regenerative beef. Everything about that product has the lowest carbon footprint we can have. So,
do you grade all the items on your menu for its carbon footprint, or this one in particular was designed really to showcase?
This one was designed to showcase what we believe is the future.
Yeah.
There's not enough regenerative beef out there right now to supply our system.
Right.
But the vendor that we're working with, Country Natural Beef, is endorsed regenerative practices, and they plan on being fully able to do it in the next few years. So. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And what about looking at things like packaging? Is that something, I know in your area there's really good recycling, there's composting, there's trying to deal with packaging waste. Do you do that in any way in particular?
Oh yeah, we take a hard look at what we're using, of course, recyclable products on the actual to-go products, anything that we use in the restaurant. We take it to every level that we can, so we have 100% renewable energy credits for our restaurant's energies. We buy, and for our landscaping, we use called pollinating grasses and flowers and stuff that are low water use and help with biodiversity. I mean, we really try to think about all the different ways that we can impact the environment. Of course, we recycle our grease. The grease from the fryers was. They started recycling that back in 2000. I mean, a long time ago. So, Anyway,
for biofuel?
For biofuels.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot more available in the Pacific Northwest than other parts of the country when it comes to opportunities for recycling. I'm fascinated by the how you're positioning the brand as, I think you called it a fast foodie concept, because it really is very, it's not your typical QSR with, you've really kind of gone a step above in terms of the quality of the product and the menu design that you have, and you're looking at In-N-Out as a model. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, I think In-N-Out's quite a different model in one way. They're a fairly narrow focus. We're going to do a very limited line of offerings, but we're going to do them very well and execute and get it out consistently and build on that. And that's a great formula. We are a much more broad range, so we try to offer items that are signature items and things that you can't get at other spots, and build our loyalty through having food that's different and food that's exceptional, both in ingredients, attributes, and just the style of the food itself. But one of the things that I do love about what In-N-Out did is they've always grown organically and grown within their footprint, kind of concentrically, staying relevant to markets that they've already built their brand in and markets they can support as they grow. It was a beautiful model. They did it very well. And Burgerville is perfectly set up and structured to do that. We are located within about a 200-mile radius. We go from Albany, Oregon right now, up to Centralia, Washington. There's still plenty of growth within those boundaries for us, so we're focused on that right now. But when we start moving out of that boundary, we're going to be moving, down to Southern Oregon, to Eugene, Roseburg, all the way down to Klamath Falls, and move up towards Seattle and out towards Eastern Oregon and ultimately into Idaho, Tri-Cities. But that gives us a long runway of growth for the next decade.
Before you even leave those two states.
Yeah, before we leave. Yeah, we might get into Idaho, but we're not going to get any further than that in the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, to take it slow like that. Tell me about your average check. Is it?
Yeah, we don't really study individuals because it's so hard now with third-party platforms and drive-thrus. You don't know how many people are how many orders there are, right? So we just go by transactions counts. So our transaction orders right now are about 8. We run $19 or so for dine-in or drive-through. Third-party is about $21, $22.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that you're also you're in states where there's a very high minimum wage. I think you have 5 units that are unionized. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And can you tell me about how labor costs have impacted the brand?
Well, yes. I mean, not just our brand, but everybody. The nice thing about labor, the minimum wage issues and such, is that they apply to everybody. So we've had to take price increases when necessary. Every time there's a minimum wage, we take the minimum. It's surprising, though. It's not as dramatic as you would think. Even though the minimum wage is going to go up $1, a couple of percent will really cover that in terms of menu price increase. So you just have to be judicious and try to keep an eye on what everybody else is doing. Take what you need, but don't get greedy. Don't use it as an opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah.
You just got to keep the consumer understands it because they're paying for it everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and telling me a little bit about Burgerville. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.